They called him a rat. For 6 months. Casey cleaned the bathroom, took a break all night. Change that no one wants, and leave the head alone. The surgeon yells at him for his mistakes, staring him in the face. She didn't arrive. To Mercy staff. General, she was invisible, a coward. An entry-level nurse who trembles when she speaks. Until they were unaware of the incident. There was no fear, there was restraint. I didn't know the hands that touched me. The floors once held the life of the first floor. Operators in the mountains of Kandahar. And they certainly weren't expecting that day. Blackhawk helicopter lands overhead the roof of the hospital, which just to get the whole city section. The mouse is not afraid of them. I am waiting for orders. This the story of the hospital's invisibility. The woman became his legend. Merci fluorescent lights. The general's emergency room was bustling. That particular headache causes frequency that only humans have clearly. The church's transformation has been noticed. 3:14 a.m. on a rainy Tuesday in Chicago. The kind of night that brings in the sky. The wounded man's chest felt heavy, like a stench. Antiseptic, wet cotton wool and old coffee. Casey Rhodes was standing at the nurse's station. She raised her eyes and leaned slightly forward. It was on the soft linoleum floors. 32 years old, even though she looks young, with her hair has returned to a heavy waistband and a little old shirt. It was great for her athletic body. Newly hired, mobile nurse. Where did he fill the gap? There was a gap in the schedule. Street, are you deaf or are you stupid? The voice was heard through the corridor. Like a whip. Dr. Gregory David, a trauma surgeon at the hospital, and he called himself the King of Air. Scoreboard on the counter. He was a man who spends more time with their hair than their skin. Patient records, beautifully attractive, in a media-friendly way, and absolutely it is poisonous to anyone who thinks they are below their abilities. Pay level. Casey didn't hold back. He looked at her expression like a blank sheet of paper. Dr. David, I was organizing it. I don't care if you organize it. Vatican Archives, David said hurriedly. Pointing at a severed finger from a bed of 6. I asked for a normal physiology result. They were drunk in bed 10 minutes ago. Why? Is it still dry? It has a 6-story bed. Heart palpitations. Dr. Casey said in a soft voice, it could be said to be monotonic. But his graph was not updated, but I noticed a lump on it. Ankles. Normal saline solution. Rinse the lungs. I'm waiting for you to record a delayed drop rate. David's face turned very red. Hazardous waste containers. Other nurses, Brenda, the head nurse, who has been in trouble since the Reagan era. Management, and Jessica, an internet user who loves gossip, stops what he stops. It was to see. Night entertainment, bathing mouse. Did you notice? David laughed. Loud screeching sound. Note the creaking of the ankles. The roads are full. Now you are the nurse. What, 5 minutes? I'm the one taking responsibility. Department and Johns Hopkins. Diplomat J. Where was it from? Clears throat. Some of it. Community college in Idaho. Tennessee. Casey calmly corrected him. Tennessee Regiment. Okay, in Chicago, nurses don't do tests. They do what they are told. Wait. Bag, road, or I'll write to you. Because you don't obey your head quickly. He returns to the potato fields. This is Tennessee, sir. They grow tobacco, Casey muttered, but she moved before he could. It could explode again. Warehouse, its effective activities, almost robotic. He heard them passing by the station. Brenda whispers loudly to Jessica. Oh my, she's pathetic. She has no backbone. I don't know how he managed to get down to the plate. He trembles whenever he is injured. Clears throat, I heard she works in a nursing home. Inside the house. Jessica laughed and looked at him. Phone. It could probably be used to erase faces and play bingo. Made for O. She's leaving for Christmas. Casey, she heard every word. Her hearing ability tested at perfect altitude, standard for her previous job. He entered the warehouse and the heavy door closes with a click. For the partition secondly, the mask has fallen. Pale bones, the expression disappears, replaced by coldness, savior, about faithfulness. Her eyes, her penetrating gray eyes, shelves. She took a deep breath, count them. In fours, hold them. 4. 4 4. She wasn't trembling with fear. Tremors caused by adrenaline rush to live and conquer life at 100 miles per hour to the brick wall of bureaucracy. She grabbed the bag of salt water. She was about to leave. She hung it up slowly, at the speed she knew it was hers. Of course, and she will be the only one. Flow control in David's absence. Look. It was the third time this week. She saved a patient from David's ego. You don't know. When you return to the floor, the chaos in the air finally, it arrived. The automatic doors opened quickly. Clears throat, paramedics rushed in. Pushing a bed surrounded by police officers. The 25th GSW man was hit in the chest and thigh. The medical officer shouted, "It's a beep." Crash. Over 50-80. David immediately turned to the television. Dr. Mode. Take it to the horror mode 1. Way. Rui lag, Brenda. I'm with you. Casey leaned against the wall, blend in with the background. This was her role, the silent observer. But she saw the cart passing by, the other thing that's missing. The patient wasn't just bleeding. Chest. There was a black vein. A liquid oozes from the inside of the thigh, it's hidden in his black jeans. Temporary bleeding. If only they had focused on his chest and legs are ignored, it bleeds within 3 minutes. She watched as David opened his shirt. Dry your chest, it's getting tight. David shouted. Dr. Foote, Casey said. There was no shouting, but he cut it off. Through the noise with a stranger a harmonious authority. I said, get out. Even David didn't do it. Look back. Casey looked at the floor. She looked at the clock. 2 minutes to 30 minutes. Seconds. She hasn't made a decision. Muscle memory did it for him. Casey moving. It seemed that way to the audience. Fog. For a moment it was on the wall, the next time she was at the bottom she didn't ask permission. She didn't wait for the order. He put his hand in his pocket, took it out. A pair of sturdy horror masks, and one fluid movement removed the jeans from the inside out. Patient's jeans from knee to hip. Blood spurted like a geosphere. Clear glass cabinet doors 3 meters away. What are you? What are you doing? Brenda shouted. David took it. Scalp bumps on the man's chest. Casey didn't look up. She looked at her hand. Hit directly into the open wound the man's lap. Her white fingers, the location of the severed femoral artery as it felt like torn muscles were being broken. She found it. Squeeze and squeeze the soft, vibrating tube. Tightly on the thigh bone. The bleeding stopped immediately. Casey said his femoral artery was severed. The voice was unrecognizable. It was not. The soft murmur of a mouse. He didn't have a serious report. Chest tamponade. He was hypovolemic. Bleeding on the legs. If you have cracks. The chest, there would be a decrease in pressure. He killed him immediately. Silence reigned over the tragedy one. The only one the sound was the sound of the monitor. Beep beep beep. Heartbeat. It's calming down. Blood pressure is starting to rise. Note, 85/60. 90/65. David looked at his feet, then at the case. The hand that holds the life of man, the hand that sheds blood together. His ego fought with reality. And for a while, reality prevailed. Her wound. She was right. Clem. David sneaked out. Brenda was confused, give him a vein clamp. David. He retreated and controlled the bleeding. I understand. I understand. Go back. Casey released the blood vessel and kicked it back, his hands covered in blood, the knots. She put them in. A clean stance, her face returns to that blank expression. So do. Surgery, David muttered, without taking his eyes off her. Get it now. As the team quickly evacuated the patient, the adrenaline in the room started. Lost, replaced by confusion tension. Brenda was standing behind him, watching him. To Casey. How did you know? In blood, he asked in a suspicious voice. I don't even wear jeans. Right now. How did you know it was an artery? Casey went to the sink and started. He rubbed his hands. The water changed. Rose. I saw how his leg was twisted. And the color of his skin. It was gray, it's not light. This means the lower limbs. Loss. Not in a nursing home. Textbook, Brenda, and she said. I read a lot, Casey said simply. She dried her hands with a paper towel. I will examine the drunk person. Bed. Her shoulders hunched over and she walked away. Go back, go back. The role of the invisible servant. But Brenda didn't want to believe it anymore. I went to the trash can where Casey was. She threw down a paper napkin. She stood. The scissors Casey used were a pair of scissors for trauma. She sat at the table. Brenda chose. They weren't the usual problem. Hospital scissors. These were matte. Heavy black metal with a serrated edge, the ability to cut a coin. The one who is wearing it, engraved on the sleeve, it was a small sign of a conflict that had been going on for years. It wasn't very noticeable, just scratches. Untrained eye. Trident, eagle, anchor, and lowercase name letter. C Street. SARC 8. Brenda frowned. She didn't know what it was. SARC had this in mind. She thought it was a trademark. Name. She threw her scissors back. Class. Strange person, she muttered. The next morning, Casey was called. Hospital administrator's office. Mr. Henderson was a man who looked like a man. The three-piece suit, turtleneck, sat down. Behind a mahogany table with Dr. David, who seems arrogant. Mrs. Rhodes, Henderson began to fold his arms. Are you in trouble? Is the patient okay? Casey asked. Is the patient alive? Yes, Henderson said angrily. But Dr. A.S. David filed a formal complaint. About your character. He says this. You physically interfered. In a state of emergency requiring surgery patient and showed what it is. The phrase is a carefree cowboy character. Trauma shelter. Casey looked at David. He smiled, you were lucky, way. You. I guessed correctly. But we follow in case of emergency. Chain of command. They don't hide yours. Do not touch the patient unless I tell you to. You are a burden. I saved my life, Casey said. You did it, he said. There's blood on my shoes, David protested. We sue Henderson. He said, sliding a piece of paper across the table. 2 limited activities per week. You can't do them. Enter the horror rooms. You will be entertained. Grading document and cleaning flow if necessary. Another voice offline. Another example of what the doctor is playing and you were fired. Is this clear? Casey to the letter was a formal reprimand. Disobedience, unprofessional behavior. She thought about the letter inside. Her drawer is in the house. That Naval Department begs her, he will return as a consultant. She called her head. She called Distinguished Service Cross. She looked at Henderson, then at David. He raised his pen. Crystal clear, sir. She said. She signed the document. He returned from the office on foot. The floor. She spent the next 6 hours cleaning and inspecting the waiting room temperature for children with flu. I thought the day couldn't get any worse. But the TV is on at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The waiting room provided the latest news. Banner. The situation in the city center. Federal building. Many victims. Reported. The voice of the news messenger sharp. We are receiving reports. Domestic terrorist group Federal Reserve Post Office in Jackson Road. SWAT closed. There. Reports on chemical use. Casey stopped laughing. Screen. Clears throat, camera. It has increased around. The police have locked her up, but her eyes are focused on another thing. In the background. A barely visible, black SUV was photographed. It was forbidden. People were leaving. They weren't wearing blue SWAT gear. DRA Multicombrique in DRA 416 Hong Kong dollars weapons with security guards. She knows that tool. She knows the way. Move. Her phone rang inside her bag. A single vibration. She ignored him. She was a nurse inside. Experiment. Clears throat, make a sound. Again. 3 times an emergency. Model. She took out her phone. Unknown number. She answered. Street. Head. Cracked voice. It was deep, distorted by the sound of the wind. We have situation. We are in Chicago. We have general biological threat. The group it's exposed. Our doctor is downstairs. There are 10 of us. Minutes from your area. Clears throat, we need a throat rinse. We need a point and a clean room. I'm coming to you. I'm with the civilian. Hospital Viper, Casey turned and whispered. I'm taking him to the waiting room. I can't. Authorizing the shipment. We do not want to. Permission. Casey, the voice said, we'll bring it. The wealth within, and you alone, is what you have within yourself. The hemisphere that knows the antidote VX2 nerve gas protocol. Take the roof. Ready. Arrival time is 9 minutes. The queue continued. Death. Casey looked at the crowded crowd waiting around him. Room. A child was crying. An old man. Sigh. Dr. David Ailfo, laughing about him on his cell phone golf handicap. Casey dropped the broom. It made a noise. He hugged the plates tightly. Stick, choose. Leave this alone, Brenda shouted from across the table. Casey's hair tie is untied, she showed off a gray shirt underneath. Go straight to the elevator. Rhodes. Where are you going? David shouted. To the roof, Casey said without stopping. You're fired, David shouted. Not yet. She said, but you might want to call. To hell with the FAA. Elevator ride to the top floor even though it's been a lifetime, even though only 30 seconds. Casey did nothing wrong. She took off her hair tie. Bola let her hair down freely, and I. For style, but because she has to use it a bandage to keep her clean. Tightly above her elbows. Loose material. I left it in the rotor wash. When the doors open at 8 o'clock floor, administration and pharmacy, side he came up with a plan to the training instructor scared him. She walked past the administrative desks. Directly to the patient's pharmacy window. Paul, the head pharmacist, raised his head. For the glasses. He was a determined man for that. Documents that once kept the surgeon waiting 20 minutes for Tylenol because it's moldy. I missed the meeting. Road. Paul closed his eyes. You do not have permission for this floor and this floor. You seem very enthusiastic. Paul, I need the risk. Trolley keys and an extra pack of chemicals. Casey said her voice was superficial, but there was a vibration created inside. The hair on Paul's arm stands on end. Chemical agents. Paul laughed nervously. Casey, this is it. For mass casualty events, terrorists' attacks. I can't just write black code on Paul. Plot 9. Paul alphas will he froze. He stopped laughing. It's a military superiority code. How can we do it? Do you know this? Casey, open it. She said. She didn't scream. She leaned forward. Her gray eyes, fixed on him. Don't give me atropine in both. Without adding chlorine for the next 30 seconds, 4 people die on your roof. And after death, the gas will decrease. Their uniforms are penetrating. HVAC system and it makes everyone die. Nick. Do you want me to come with you? Conscience. Paul turned pale. He looked into his eyes. He took the keys, whose hands were shaking. Safe house. Casey has it above. Counter, take 3 will boxes. Needles and a bag of salt water. Call me. Oh, she said, picking up an item. Portable radio from the security counter. Tell them to clear out disaster zone 1 and 2. Close the gaps. Positive pressure. Alone. If David argues, tell him that he is the one. CDC order. She didn't wait a day. Answer. She ran up the stairs. Leading to the helicopter landing pad. Access point from the roof. The door was made of heavy iron, keyboard. Casey didn't have the code. She didn't even hesitate. She picked it up. In that, the hairy feet and heels, a method with a disgusting screeching sound. Iron. The door burst open. She closed it. Her shoulder hit the door, on a cold and windy Chicago afternoon. The helipad was a disaster. Officially inactive. Mainly used as a smoking area for anxious doctors, and there is a storage facility for broken HVAC units. Wash your pallet, your rusty handrail, and loose gravel everywhere. In the trash. Else, she muttered to herself. She began. Pulling heavy pallets to the edge, throw them over the security curtain. On the lower roof. A strength that challenges her slender body. He cleaned the rusty bag and pushed it away. On the scale. Hey, who do you think you are? The scream came from the door. Mr. Henderson has a red face and surrounded by 2 hospitals, taking a deep breath security guards and Dr. David. David lost his mind, shouted and pointed at him. She destroys hospital property. They caught him. The 2 guards, strong men. They called Miller and Davis, who were usually they spent the day with drunk people. Patience, you have taken a step forward. Miss Rhodes, you have to get down now. Casey was standing in the middle of the picture. The wind blows through dry leather pants. She looked at the clock. 2 minutes. Wait. Turn around, Casey warned. You don't want to be. Get out here. Hold on, Henderson ordered. Miller ran to her. It was a sound. The kind I use when I'm confused. Patient. Casey didn't hit her. Clears throat, I'm in now. He waited, he used his speed. His foot fell. Miller hit the concrete. Serious. Before Davis could respond, Casey turned it over and put it in. Ankle on the foot, pressing on it the wall of the staircase. Listen to me, she said. She shouted, her voice piercing. Wind. There is a Sikorsky UH60 Blackhawk. Introduction, hot and heavy. If you are standing on this pillow as it opens, rotor wax will knock you off the roof. Go inside, close the door, and don't do it. It's open until I speak. David looked at her mouth with one eye. Blackhawk. You're crazy. You are. To cause a psychological crisis. Wait. The sound began. Trembling like the sound of their footsteps feet. Then it became a magical drone. Their breasts. David looked up. What is this? Henderson whispered. Get down. Casey said. She screamed. She let down her guard and Henderson and David left. The steps are now open. The sky above is mercy. Complete disappearance. A huge black shape. Thunder roared above the top of the building, a deafening sound. The wind blew. Like a physical beating. David also suffered. Feet and falling. Pure power. A military helicopter that flies only 10 meters high, it was so scary above the roof. There was no wonderful medical transport, a helicopter. It was a war machine. No signs, no lights, just matte black. Steel and minigun barrel, it appears on the door frame. Black Hawk did not go down. The roof did not support the full weight. It had a low 10-inch tire. Concrete. The airflow below is increased. Gravel and dust, blind David, and Henderson is the one who took it away from him. Door. But Casey stood up straight. She left. She walked straight into the storm. She picked herself up. Arrange your arms in an X shape, then they stopped at the sign to wait. Position, helicopter side door, it slid. 4 people jumped out. He was wearing all tactical gear, but their movements were apathetic, hopeless. The 2 were holding a 3rd person. Between them. The 4th person, the group, the leader, the last Pelican's black box. Bent over. They threw the rotors and ran to Casey. Team leader, a giant figure, a sign that covers the beard and cheeks. Casey stood in front. He wasn't there. Look at the hospital administrator. He didn't see the people who were afraid. Security guards. He looked at the nurse. He laughed lightly. Despite the attention and chaos, the chief gave a sharp, very sharp salute. Road, he shouted over the engine. The property is safe, but it is fading. The exposure was direct. Skin contact 5 a few minutes ago. Casey didn't return the greeting. Citizens do not greet. Instead, he grabbed the team leader's jacket. Did you make it yourself? Translated into a bird. Negative. No. Water. Simply disconnect the devices. Take it there. Don't touch anyone. Don't touch anyone. No one will touch you. Casey turned to David, who was trying to do the same. Rise, oh dear piece of hair, he was almost suffocated. Casey rushed there. He grabbed his clothes. They brought him a white jacket. Dr. David, she said. The gentleness disappeared. The mouse was dead. In its place was a woman who led the control room's active war zone. I command within. Your injury center. You go. Clear the hallway. You'll see. Brenda prepares 4 fourth lines. Atropine and you will be out of the house. My way. Do you understand? David saw the giant soldiers. Behind her, their weapons slung over each other. Their breasts, their faces covered with anger determination. He looked at Casey. I really saw it for the first time. Yes, he said, stammering. Move. The team penetrated the ranks. Door. Casey led the way and ran downstairs. 2 steps at a time because the elevator was very slow. Postage stamps they followed their fallen friend by their side. When they rushed to the emergency room, the floor was quiet. The patient stood up. He groaned. The nurses stuck in the needles and froze them. In the air. The view was amazing. The cleaning nurse was covered in gravel and through the Navy SEAL's phalanx double doors of harm 1. Clean, Casey shouted, the room. Masks on everyone. Now. She kicked the door of harm 1. Open it. Put it on the bed. Wait for the rest. He takes off his clothes and puts them in 2 pockets. Immediately. The patient is not young. Over 24 years old, violently attacked. His skin was pale, his lips were trembling. He was foaming. It gathered in the throat. Snake, hold your legs, Casey ordered. Team leader. Spirit, lower your head. I need air. Brenda, the head nurse, was in the hospital. Door, swinging. Casey, what is this VX nerve agent? Casey said, holding the lenoscope. It paralyzes the diaphragm. It cannot breathing. I'm being intubated. Inside press 2 mg, atropine and 600 mg, palidoxime. I can't accept orders right now. Brenda stuttering and looking at a nurse, he came running to David. Doctor, David looked at the soldier holding him. I looked at the monitor, my heart rate was 180, 60% oxygen. Do it. David shouted at Brendan. Do it. What does she say? Casey lowered the tube. The soldier's throat is exactly he neglected David's best work. I'm in. I understand. She said, grabbing him. He grabbed the soldier's wrist. Talk to me, my son. Wait. With us. The soldier's eyes flickered. Open. It was shaped like a large-sized pupil. The ends of the needles. Classic of nerve agent poisoning. Scene. Casey and a flash of Van Herkening. He looked at his face. Boss, he said with difficulty. Subway area. You're back. Soldier, I never left, Casey said in a soft voice. She looked up from the group leader. Give it. For me, it's the chemical. The bearded SEAL opened the Pelican. The box. Inside were bottles of test fluids. Anti-drug. This is not an FDA-approved product, David warned. Take a step forward. If he dies, it's murder. Casey, a needle. If I don't inject it, he will. She died within 2 minutes. And Dr. David, she stopped the needle that hangs above the soldier's arm. Yes, if he dies, my arm. My friends here won't accuse you. The bearded SEAL turned to David. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't raise his voice. The gun. He just looked at the doctor. David, with eyes that see things, he couldn't imagine it in his dreams. She sits down, doctor. You. Sit down. David took a step back, he hit the wall. Casey stabbed him. Serum. Clears throat, the room has its own breath. The display screamed in shock. Beep 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 beep. Then be quiet. This the danger of the attack stopped. The soldier's body disappeared. Flat lay, Brenda shouted. No, Casey said. Silence, her fingers curled over him. Blood vessel. He's recovering. Look out. 5 seconds. 10 seconds. Beep. Slow sound, my strong friend. Shout. Sinus rhythm. Casey announced. Blood pressure. To calm down. Oxygen is coming. 85 90 98. She let out a long, shaky breath. He hit the soldier on the shoulder. Welcome back to the world, my child. The bearded SEAL fought. Wiping the wall, the sweat on his forehead. She looked at Casey. Rod, that was almost everything. Very close. The order owes a lot. The order says I owe you a new door lock. Doctor, Casey said, brushing the dust off her body. Face. Only then did she realize silence in the room. She turned around. All emergency workers were gathered around. On the glass doors of the horror room, nurses, orderlies, patients, and in front of him is Mr. Henderson. Dr. David. They looked at her, not at her. Financially, with him. David looked at the monitor and then Casey. Who are you? He whispered. Really? Casey started to pull him out. Contaminated gloves. She looked down at her cleaning clothes. With oil and. I'm just a nurse. Doctor, who cleans the bathrooms? She asked. Nonsense, said the CL leader. He took a step forward, standing up. About David. He is talking to his teacher. Corpsman Casey, Rhodes Hospital, Navy Cross winner. The only woman to complete the SARC line, and she works with the development team. She's not. Nurse. She is the best combat medic. The Navy had found him before. He looked around. As he looks around the room, his gaze will captivate anyone. I disagree. And if you have any ideas. Who ruined your floors and your gasket? He added, they greeted him every time. She entered the room. Clears her throat. Henderson cleared his throat and looked up. I was scared. I understand. Okay, maybe we can have it. Promotion. Casey laughed. It was a dry, tired laugh. Voice. I don't need an introduction, sir. Henderson. I need a day off. I accept. Henderson tweeted. But the drama wasn't over. Above. When the SEALs begin to close emergency room double doors, the entrance was opened again. This time there was no patient. There were 4 men. Black clothes with headphones. FBI. And behind them is a man in the Navy. A uniform with stars on the collar. Admiral Vance, a weight user, said, "Don't do it. Use Vance." Correction. Admiral Graves. Admiral the Graves marched straight towards David. "Who's in charge here?" "It's me, David." He cleared his throat, and she said, "A little chest. Get your people out." He gets angry easily. This is it now. Under the authority of the Defense Department. We will add. Building turned to Casey, the strong one. His expression changed immediately. "Boss." "Oh," said the Admiral, shaking his head. I should have known. When I was the civil hospital was able to do this. I'm calm about the VX exposure, I knew it was there. To be you. I thought you were retired." "It's me, sir," Casey said. "I won't be anymore." Graves said. He pulled out a file from it. "A helping hand. The President has given permission. Your reactivation. In action. Immediately." Casey looked at the file. She looked back on her quiet life at Mercy. General. She looked at David, who now she looks at him with a mixture of fear and surprise. "I have a contract here, Admiral Casey." He said, "I have a responsibility. If we want the hospital, we will buy it." Graves said, "It's a dead pot. Prepare the way. There is a situation in the North Sea and your team is unwilling to deploy without you." Casey looked at the SEAL leader. He smiled. "Come on, Casey. The caretaker. The closet will still be here when we get there. Come back." The atmosphere in the emergency room from shock to amazement, respectful silence. Air pressure. Admiral Graves seemed to have fallen asleep. Tragic mission parameters. The table above Dr. David. A forgotten memory. "We have a ship in the shadows, immortal, it is currently raining in the north. Look." Graves said his voice was soft, but take it to every corner of the room. A strange storm struck during a power outage extraction operations. We have 7 stages. 1 operators are under pressure. Diving bells. They're carbon dioxide purifiers. It didn't work. One of them fell. Lung and spinal cord injury. What we can do, pull them up. Compression pain, he kills them before they disappear. Floor. We need someone who knows how to jump. Turn down the clock, put the clock in stress, spinal stabilization and chest compressions, laying a 400-meter pipeline under the sea level. Graves looked at Casey. Only 3 people in the world have been certified for severe war damage, and 2 others are in Okinawa. Casey finished. Her eyes scanned the tactical map. Exactly. Graves shook his head. I need a weapon, Casey said. She didn't see David. She didn't see him either. Look at Henderson. She was already there. Calculating gas from water in the mind, calculating gas. Mixtures and types of baptism. Many more to come. Your boss. There is a Viper. The Pelican's bag is open. Inside it, Trauma Center 1, Casey Rhodes naked to clean her from her dirty and bulky clothes. She was wearing light thermal underwear underneath. Pants and a sleeveless shirt, the uniform. She was always cold because her metabolism was working very fast. She was wearing a dress. Tactical pants, the material is heavy. And fire resistant. Combat boots, her effective moves, to tie in a specific knot it wasn't slipping. She shrugged. Plate carrier, heavy ceramic reinforcement. She sat on her shoulder. The familiar hug. Finally. He strapped the radio over her shoulder and tied her hair. She looked back hard. She looked at her reflection. On the glass doors of the cupboards. I'm tired. A woman bent over with vomiting. The floor disappeared. A warrior was standing. David made this change and his mouth was slightly open. He looked. The materials of the dispute lie in a heap on the floor, the uniform he mocked. He got dressed an hour ago. You. David's voice began to tremble. With a mixture of anger and sadness. You can't just leave. You're in. I didn't sign your schedule card. This is the postage stamp. Casey slowly turned around. She saw him. Her medical bag strap. She walked over to him. She was inches away from David. Face. She was shorter than him, but it seemed like she was rising above him at that moment. Clears throat, the room. Dr. David, she said, her voice hoarse. Very stable. For 6 months. I saw you chasing the nurses you knew. More than you. I saw you ignoring me. Because they don't have patients' real insurance. I have fixed your mystery in the dark. So that you can shine in the light. She reached into her tactical jacket and he took out his hospital ID card. Someone see, Rhodes, CNA, cleaner. Support. You are right. I am desperate. My mailbox. The license plate is on it. The pocket of his clean white lab coat. Because I have a job that I want to do. Importance. Let's move, easy Viper. The team surrounded him with a defensive diamond. Formation and they went exit. The automatic doors opened and the noise of the Blackhawk was increasing from outside. Loudly. When Casey came out with force. The asphalt road, the wind blowing through her hair. He looked back for the last time. The whole hospital staff under pressure looking through the window. It looks embarrassing inside. Pharmacist Paul shook his head. David stood there, looking a little dazed. Holding the woman's ID card. Theory Mayan. Casey Mori. He grabbed the helicopter door handle and pulled it. He went inside himself. The bird got up from the bench. Loud in the Chicago sky, disappearing into the gray clouds. The North Sea was a terrifying nightmare. Black water and white foam. Storm. It entered the ocean with strength. Washing machine 30 meters spinning bumps. Casey sat in the back. The largest transport helicopter, now tarmac. She is equipped to search and rescue a falcon. She was already wearing her dry, heavy clothes. A rubber seal is tightly wrapped around her neck. A few minutes before the crash, the pilot shouted communication. There is confusion there. The road. Visibility is 0. I don't need to see, Casey replied angrily. Please bring it closer to me. The child. The mission was crazy. The watch is connected to the support of immersion. A ship hanging precariously at 400 meters. The line was breaking. If it had broken, 7 people are going inside. Ocean floor, crushed by pressure. She had to drink water and jump immediately. On the bell and medical lock to calm the commander down. An emergency meeting began. Green light, go, go, go. Casey's not there. Hesitate. From the helicopter is 30 meters deep. An ocean with ice and waves. The cold hit him. Like a hammer, even on the side of the package. She fought the waves that came after her. A strobe light flashing from the pointer boy. A support diver was waiting with him. Chief, are you okay? The sound of the diver's voices echoed inside her. Headphones. Take me, Casey ordered. The descent was a dark mist. She went deep and fell into chaos. The storm above has disappeared, the weight that is heavy and silent ocean. The pressure accumulated in the ear. At 400 meters, the darkness was complete. Only the light beam in front of him was broken. The bell was there. It was leaning against it. 45 degrees angle with force stream. She got stuck in the airlock. The tire is blocked. Snake, this is it. Rhodes. She spoke into her communication system, quiet voice despite nitrogen anesthesia. He's trying to confuse his mind. Airlock, it's blocked. I have to play percussion. Wait. She tightened her grip. Using a heavy key on the body to hit the locking mechanism with a hammer. Voice. Moaning and distorted. She climbed onto the lid and lifted herself up. Brenda. The wind blew in the first sweat fear. The bell rang a little, 7 o'clock. Big men. The air was thick and swampy. Street. A voice was heard from behind. There was Commander Ricks, who was from spinal cord injury. A temporary waste, his face gray. It's me. Here you go, Commander, Casey said. She took off her diving mask, and immediately left. To work. Condition, collapsed lung. Stress. Pneumothorax. The paramedic on board said, I can't stand it. The pressure. The difference is very strange here. If I hit him in the chest, I could kill him. That's why I came here, Casey said. She opened her waterproof bag. The bell rang. It shook violently. The rope moaning outside the house. We'll lose the rope, the pilot. He shouted from above. How are you? There are 3 minutes before the rope breaks. You need to calm down now so we can do this. To blow up ballast tanks. 3 minutes to do a chest tube hospitalization was common. Put it in a jar, shake it, shake it. In the storm, knowing that mistakes will be made. The air was sucked out of the man's lungs. Impossible. Casey looked at RX. He was leaving. Sick, sir. Do it, boss. Rick sighed. Outside. Casey didn't use a scalpel. She used a special trailer. Rib house. She is Bell. Left, right, pause. Dive in, he insert the tube. Escape whistle. Air. Blood splashed his face. His lungs. She blew again, rang and looked. Valve. The spine is fixed. Close the valve. Tanks. Get them out of here. Wow. Ballast in 321. The bell was ringing. A loud sound was heard. The sound of metal and then quickly. Quickly. Very quickly. Slow down, Casey shouted. Let's go. We couldn't, the pilot replied. The rope is now broken. You are free. Floating. Prepare for surface braking. The bell was thrown up. Casey threw it. The body on the commander, protecting him. They carried her shield as they flew. They break the floor. They break the water. Like a cork from a champagne bottle, I threw myself into the air 10 meters ahead. Returning to the waves. Inside, everything went dark for a while. Second. When Casey opens her eyes, she is bleeding from a wound on her body, injured. Front and nausea. But that control. He continued to make noises in Rick's chest. They're all alive, she said with a big sigh. We are. Okay, boss, he whispered, tapping a seal. That's the back. We're ready. You did it for us. Casey tilted his head back. She closed her eyes against a cold metal wall. Dar. David pointed out to me that they have one. She cut out a piece of paper and started laughing. 2 weeks later, during the atmospheric event General Mercy finally began to calm down. Stories about the helicopter nurse began to fade into urban legends. Distorted and improved by the people who were there. Dr. Gregory David get back to the vehicle, and if anything, it's Casey's ego grew to fill the void. He had gone. He was standing in the middle. Nurse's station, indirectly leaning on the counter, while the medical students stared wide-eyed. Every word. It sounds perfect. Perfectly gelatinized. Messy lab coat. Strong, $5,000 watch price shines below it fluorescent lights. David, it was indeed a chaotic scene. He said, making a broad gesture chart. The movements of the special forces are irregular, but when the team leader panicked, I needed it. I intervened. I led. Protocols. In trauma care, it's not just about cutting. The existence of order. Those poor nurses' ways. She was there. She was completely frozen. I needed her. It practically pushes into the penis. To get him off the road. Inside, what kind of view is there a few meters away? Organize patient files, cover hair because her eyes hurt so much. She knows. To be honest, everyone did it. But there was no one to oppose David. The golden goose, revenue generator, face on hospital signs. So she left. One of the students he asked. The nurse. Oh, absolutely not. David sneered and looked at his reflection. In a dark window. Being fired is a serious reason. Violation. I have submitted a deletion request. I'll report myself as soon as the dust settles. Pure. We cannot be unstable. The workers leave with a loud voice. The sound of heavy double doors slamming. The open door interrupted him. The noise did not come from the ambulance station. Some of them are the main entrance of the entrance. The noise of the waiting room. He died immediately, hidden, confused silence, a few waves like a storm through the corridor. David frowned, annoyed. Cutting. Security. What's going on there? He turned around. Be careful around the noisy patient. He saw the blood flowing from his body. Front. Walk through the middle. The main corridor was a phalanx of 4 men. In dark clothes, with headphones and black sunglasses, universal uniform federal agents. They were on their side. 2 uniformed naval officers, their dress code white, shiny ribbons piled high. Their breasts. And between them a woman walked in with a formality. She wasn't there. She was wearing a cleaning suit. She didn't have one either. Large polka dot uniform. She has cleaning staff. Personalized charcoal gray power pack. It fits like a second skin. Her hair, it is often contained in a twisted loaf of bread, falling down on her shoulders soft waves. She was wearing black stilettos. The one who shouts on the linoleum a cadence with a rapturous beat. Click, click, click. It took David a full 10 seconds. He realized who he was looking at. On the way, he whispered his name and tasted it. Like ashes in his mouth. Casey didn't stop until she reached 90 centimeters tall. From him. The agents are distributed. Effectively, closing the passage, the medical students quickly returned, understand the power shift. Casey. She slowly took off her sunglasses. It was the same, that penetrating intelligence. Gray, but modesty is gone. A mouse was eaten by a lion. Dr. David, she said. Her voice was cold, carrying a soft and resonant weight from the wall. I believe it's you. I will warm up my injured area. David laughed out loud, in fear. A voice expressing fear. Yours. Trauma Bay, Miss Rhodes, I don't know why. Are you here or why are you here? Rally, but you won't work here anymore. I fired you. Do you remember? I remember you. Casey said, try it, dangerous little boy. A smile appeared on her lips. The tall man in the Navy uniform next to him, Admiral Graves, are you having trouble? Inform the doctor about the current situation. At the administrative level of Mercy General. Admiral Graves took a step forward. He is a scary man, built like a tank. It looks like it's grinding gravel. He doesn't read any folios. Dr. A.S. David Graves was hired. Around 8 o'clock. This morning, the Department of Defense holds the national team. The Critical Skills Protection Act. Because about strategic importance employees at this location, especially, the main streets, the marina, they bought a controlling stake in this facility damage and emergency treatment part. David closed his eyes. We bought the farm, we bought the building, my son, Graves fixed it. We installed it too. Supervising a new operations director transition and proving that we are who we are, the properties are treated with the respect they deserve. He won. He looked at David Henderson, the hospital administrator, who has reduced behind the admiral. Henderson has won. A weak wave of forgiveness. Director activities. David muttered. Who? Casey. She took a step forward. She didn't say a word. She just grabbed her jacket. Take out a new ID card and put it in your pocket. She grabbed his shoelace. But he didn't think. The support team says, black line. He wrote the streets of C, Director Emergency Medicine, Chairman of the Board. The silence in the room was perfect. Even it sounded like the heart monitors were beeping. Apart from you, David, were having trouble breathing. But you're a nurse. You cleaned the floors. I am the main person. Chief nuclear engineer of a hospital and 20 years of combat experience, a doctorate in trauma. Uniformed Services Surgery University and Specialist Certificate in a Difficult Environment Resurrection. Casey listed them on her page and tagged them. My fingers. Yes, I clean the floors too. Because like you, Gregory, I don't think there's any work that's worth less than my price. She helps the patient. She takes a step. Approaching his private space, he invaded. David returned from the counter. Now about your work, Casey said, calmly. I have a regular appointment, Dawitt posted on his Twitter page. You can't fire someone without cause. Oh, you're right, Casey said, looking at her. Graphics. Disability, harassment, data fraud. I can get fired, to take and give your permission with this beautiful gentleman with weapons. David to agents. They don't look good. It seemed like they were hoping he would do it. Run. Clears throat, but I won't do that, Casey said. He continued. David took a deep breath, bent his knees. Shaking. You. Or not. No, because even if you have personality, good hands. You are a good surgeon when he's not busy. Look in the mirror. Casey raised his hand. We have a scoreboard, and a shortage of staff. She turned to Brenda. Brenda, are we there? Is there a vacancy on the night shift? He smiled, a demonic, beautiful smile. It spread across her face. In fact, Director, yes. We need a new one. To participate in the transformation of the church. Weekends and holidays, co-payments and minors, mainly wounds and bedsores when the nurses were busy, Casey returned. Go back to David. Here you are. It's you. He was humiliated. Probationary status. You are reporting to head nurse at work. You speak when you speak. He said, you work hard. And if you do, it lasts for 6 months without damage. Complaint, maybe we'll let you have it. Another scalp. David looked around. Class. The students laughed loudly. The nurses were smiling. He was humiliated. He was beaten. Do I have a choice? He whispered. Of course. Casey said, pointing towards the exit. The door is there, but I can hear the work. Surgeon's market is out of business. The U.S. Navy is very weak. David. He swallowed his pride. It was a big deal, a bitter pill. He lowered his head. I'll take it. Change. Good answer, Casey. He clapped his hands, his voice was terrifying. Get out of me now. You are. Block traffic. Be clean. Bedroom for 4 people. You have an ingrown toenail that you need. Look. As David leaves in a hurry, he who was deprived of his glory and kingship, Casey turned to the admiral. Thank you, sir. I can get it from here. Graves. He shook his head, a rare smile appeared, and his face trembled. Give them a hard one, boss. As his military escort followed him, Casey Rhodes went. She took a deep breath. She looked at the chaos of the emergency room, phones ringing, babies crying, the storm waves. She fled from herself. Jacket, a pair of dark blue. She tied her hair. Supported by a rubber band. Okay, everyone, she shouted. A voice that is consistent with authority. Show okay. Let's get back to work. We're saving lives here. We don't just look at how they move. And how they move. The workers took action. For the first time in years, Mercy General, it didn't feel like a workplace. As a group. And in between, there is no a lion stood up, not a mouse. They will not ignore it again. This is the story of Casey Rhodes, the complete silent warrior. Respect has nothing to do with the hospital. The title on your license plate, but that character in your soul. She confirmed those heroes. He walks among us every day. Sometimes pushing a mop, sometimes saving a life. The darkness, waiting for the moment they are waiting for, it is important. If you liked this secret story, military justice and fairness, please press it like button. It really helps the channel grow up. Don't forget to subscribe and click notification bell so you don't miss anything new. Story. What did you think of Dr. David's ideas? Punishment. Was it enough or was it worth it? Were you fired? Tell me what you think about it. The comments below. I read them all.